Mr. Sean Lahane. Welcome to today's quarterly community town hall. For those of you online, you can find the slides and follow along by clicking on the link in the chat. There will also be a QR code for you to scan as well. At this time, I will go over the agenda. We'll begin with a welcome and an update from the Garrison Commander, preceded by Garrison announcement from Fort Belvoir's headquarters Battalion Sergeant Major, Command Sergeant Major Reginald Smith, which will be followed with an update from MWR. Then we'll hear from our guest speaker, the school liaison officers. Finally, we'll introduce you to our panelists this evening before moving on to our Q&A session, the reason that we're all here today. Without further ado, Colonel David Stewart.
All right, good evening, everybody. For those of you that are here in the THR classroom, as well as those that are out there on Facebook Live, just want to welcome you all to the quarterly community town hall. So for those that don't know, I'm Colonel Dave Stewart. This is Command Sergeant Major Smith, and my deputy here, Sean Lahane, as well as all of the other SMEs from the different directorates here on the garrison. We all wanted to assemble here. This is another event that we have. We want to make sure that we are maintaining the 360 dialogue that is necessary to be able to provide the best support for all of those that live, work, eat, and play on Fort Belvoir. So this is just one of those opportunities to get that two-way communication, to hear what's important from the garrison side in support of you all, as well as to hear what is important to you all in terms of recommendations or things that need to be approved or addressed here on installation. So this is just another one of those touch points. I just want to say thank you for everybody coming out here tonight. Understand that there's plenty of competing requirements out there in your lives, and you're sacrificing a little bit of your time to come here and have that two-way communication. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. This town hall, we have a little bit different format that we're going to go with than we've done in the past, because we wanted to shorten some of the garrison presentation and what's going on to allow for more time to field questions and answer your concerns. So we kind of shifted the time blocks to accommodate that. There's still be plenty of information that's given out by the different directorates, primarily looking at previous questions that were sent in advance of this event, as well as some of the reoccurring ones that we hear over time, whether that's from previous quarterly community town halls or other events that we have where we socialize the needs and concerns on the installation. So we'll still get a chance to do all that. Just wanted to kind of shift the time to allow more dialogue and questions from you guys to flow. I also want to just take a quick moment to recognize the mayors for the different housing areas and thank you for your support. Again, they are volunteering to be advocates of all of you all within the housing areas and dedicating their personal time to do that. So I just want to say thank you, give a shout out to the village mayors. Go ahead, next slide please. So on the slide, everybody should be on the resilient community slide. We always kind of want to show that up front because this event is one of those feeder events to that resilient community line of effort. Again, the town hall is part of one of those opportunities where we can foster that resilient community through this line of effort. One thing I wanted to just highlight is just, again, this is just one touch point. So there's many other touch points and avenues where we get to hear from you, you get to hear from us, whether it be the village meet and greets that we have once a month, whether it's the mayor's meeting, you can channel information through your mayors. We also have that once a month. And there's very other community events, whether it's formal and informal, to be able to enhance that communication. So again, for us, from our foxhole, it's all about the safety, the security, and the quality of life of everybody that lives here on installation or works on installation. So the more that we can hear from you, the more that we can address those concerns and look at resources and how we can get, or whether it's resources or it's procedure to help alleviate some of those concerns or get out to some of those recommendations that you might have. So go ahead, next slide please. So just first and foremost, since the last town hall, I just wanted to highlight some of the things that have happened since we last met in this room here, and I'll work from top to bottom on the slide. First with the Belvoir news. For those that don't know, we had a ribbon cutting for our barracks last month, which is a great opportunity to enhance the capacity of the barracks here on the installation. So we opened up 2 barracks that have been under construction for several years, added an additional 400 units. And the good news story about that is we have some of the best barracks in the Army, bar none. And the way it's designed is you're away from those kind of old standard, 2 per room or more per room, and it kind of is arrayed as like an apartment style living where you have a common area and you have bedrooms off the common area. So everybody, every soldier, every service member has a own individual room, but they still have the additional capabilities of a full kitchen. Everybody has their own individual bathroom. There's a common area that has a washer and dryer in it. So again, it's creating sort of that dormitory suite, small apartment sort of living environment, and it's fabulous. And all the soldiers love it. Have gotten nothing but positive feedback. All the senior leaders that have visited the barracks have had nothing but good things to say. It's kind of the standard for what barracks should look like across the Army. We just wanted to highlight that achievement, finally getting those final 2 barracks back open. In addition to that, there was an order put out at the end of first quarter that realigned the command support relationship for the garrisons, where we used to be under IMCOM, which was under AMC. Now it aligns us direct support under MDW, Military District of Washington Command. So that is essentially where we take all our marching orders for execution for everything we do in support of the installation. We still get some direction because there's an ad hoc relationship with IMCOM, so that's where we're getting our resources from, i.e. money. But we just wanted to make sure we communicated that change, and there was a passing ceremony where we had to change our patch. Now we are aligned under MDW. So wanted to highlight that as well. As many of you know, starting 1 April, we instituted Beverly Retreat. And that's something we had been talking about for a while. I wasn't sure why that had ever gone away. As many of you know that PCS before, most installations across DOD do that in honor of the nation. So we wanted to make sure we brought that back. And hopefully everybody is on board, and that's a great news story across the board. Just want to highlight the month of the military child. As many of you know, is the month of April. So a plethora of events. I think we'll talk about some of the successes here in a few. But we've had a variety of events that have been nothing but successful. Everything from Kids Fest to the roller skating party that we had last weekend. Just great turnouts, very successful things that we'll look at reinforcing success in the future. How can we bring some of those events back and make them reoccurring and not just once a year type thing. So if you have any feedback or any recommendations or lessons learned for those events that we can improve, please come forward and let us know. But great events, again, it's all about recognizing the military child and the sacrifices that they make as being part of the military family, from everything from PCSing, changing environments, to different structures. It's taxing and challenging for our young folks, so we want to make sure we have an opportunity to recognize them. And the way of doing that is by having some of these great fun events where we can showcase nothing but smiles and cheers. So we'll continue to do that for the rest of April and beyond. Just dipping down into the second block there with security. Near and dear to everybody's heart is always security, gate access, and those sorts of things. In the month of, actually it began, I think, at the end of February, we were able to open Walker Gate. That is due to a huge thanks to the new shop going out to CID and Protective Services Battalion for offering some additional manpower, which we do not have. But that augmentation allowed us to do some different things. And anytime we can get that allows us to increase quality of life here on Fort Belvoir. We do have some units that do support. Obviously, we're not a large Army installation where I can reach out and task brigade combat teams and battalions under them and companies under them, because we don't have that green suit manpower here on Fort Belvoir. But any help that we do get from those units allows us to do things like this, to add additional gate capability or capacity, to increase hours that gates are open, to add hours to certain gates. It's a big assistance, but again, the bottom line for that is we're not getting any healthier when it comes to garrison manpower. So we were able to do that based off of some support from four lieutenant units. But it's pretty much been steady state or reduced in terms of hiring on installation. So I don't think we'll get any better anytime soon, but at least hopefully we'll be able to sustain what we got. Moving to safe communities, again, this kind of just highlights some of the different things that we have that have been successful. We already kind of touched on the meet and greets. Anytime we can use those community and big engagements and environments to be able to dialogue, it's just beneficial to make sure those lines of communication remain open. Didn't want to also talk on SACWA month. Also, another opportunity to acknowledge some of the safety concerns and some of the procedures and processes that we have in place to make sure that everybody that lives and works here is done so in a very safe and very respectful environment. And we kicked off this month with a proclamation over by the bowling alley, followed by a 5K run to kick off this month. So just want to highlight throughout the month of April, there are multiple events, everything from the sidewalk creativity piece to the booths that are set up sporadically throughout the installation each week, just to highlight everything that's happening within the spectrum. So that'll continue for the rest of the month. Okay, next slide. I also wanted to show this too, and we showed this before, just to make sure everybody was tracking on how we pass information beyond installation. My Army Coach staff is the newest, second newest kid on the block in terms of being able to communicate. So I think we're up to over 500 plus subscribers now. But again, another excellent opportunity or platform to get information on everything that's going on in installation. And that's not just like MWR events, it's everything from that to gate access changes that may happen based off of conditions on the ground. So I just ask that everybody sign up for that, again, so they have the latest and greatest whenever that need be. Before I jumped on that one, I probably should mention about Facebook. The Garrison Facebook page is the primary way to get Garrison information. All right, that's the official channel to pass information. We have augmented some of these other capabilities like the MyPost, MyPost app. We also have some help from our partners like the housing, the Light Corporation, which passes stuff through the villages and those email chains. But the primary way to get accurate, honest, transparent communication is through the Facebook page. I know that there's additional social media pages that are out there that are generated by individuals. I would caution everybody when you're reading that stuff, it is not always accurate. And so if you see something, before you jump on top of it, you probably want to look into one of the other platforms to confirm whether it's valid or not, or at least ask the question over those other channels to get a response to the PAO environment. Also wanted to announce there's also a Fort Belvoir LinkedIn page that was created, so I want to make sure everybody is tracking that as another opportunity to get information as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, before I turn it over to Sergeant Major, just want to add one thing. In addition to that, we also have some other things that are coming up Fort Belvoir, kind of on the partner side. So when we talk AFES, I don't know if everybody's tracking that. There's a Potbelly that's going to be coming to the PX. So the finishing up the construction on that. So hopefully that should be opening late summer. We also have Panera Bread that's coming to Shopette on the north side, which is finishing construction in the late May timeframe. It should open the beginning of July. And there's also a tattoo parlor that's coming to 12th Street there. So we did the final approvals over that. We still got to do the reconstruction of that section of the building, do some hiring and some training before that opens up. But that's also a summer openings we're anticipating as well. So just wanted to highlight some of the things that are also coming to Fort Belvoir. And then that being said, that's kind of some summary of some of the things that's happened in the last 90 days. I'll turn it over to Sean Major for some additional comments.
All right, thank you, sir. I saw the reaction for the tax call. pretty excited about that, so that's good. All right. So my name is Command Sergeant Major Reginald L.C. Smith. I'm the head coach battalion CS7, and I'm honored to be your teammate and speak to you here tonight for those online as well. So a couple of things I wanted to bring up. So the Army likes to do a lot of surveys, right? So a lot of us, we see them in our emails, and then if you're anything like me, you'll scroll past them and make sure you don't click on it, so the Army doesn't track that you looked at the survey that's being conducted. But for this one, we do want you to do it for all of my Bears service members to make sure that they're communicating back feedback for the Bears. So the Colonel did talk about, we do have state-of-the-art Bears, but any additional things that you see that may be concerns, or your service members may see that they want to upgrade, or just give them the feedback saying that they are good. It's good to get positive feedback as well. Get on the QR code, be able to provide that feedback and that two-way communication that the Colonel was talking about. So it has been open since March, and you have 2 more weeks to do it, so get on the QR code and make sure you're providing that feedback to us. And then additionally, as the summer months are getting closer, these are just dates for your children to be able to do physicals, and those dates are on the 20th of June, 27th of June, the 25th of July, and the 1st of August, and it'll be from 08 to 1500 at the hospital here. And it'll be on the first floor of the River Pavilion for that 4-day period. And there's also walk-ins if you want to do that as well, but the 08 to 1500 is the appointment timeline. So if you're anything like me, you're probably gonna procrastinate and go all the way to the 1st of August, but those are 4 different opportunities for you to do that. And the enrollment criteria for that is kids from 5 to 18 and also K through 12, and if they are TRICARE Prime and overall healthy without any chronic medical issues, so they have to meet all those benchmarks to be able to get their physical done. So, any questions? That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sergeant Major. And now moving on with MWR, Ms. Marie Grayson George.
Good evening, everyone. I guess the slide's not going to be up. So on your feed, you'll probably be able to see we have probably 20 events coming up in the next month and a half that MWR is hosting. So in order to keep these events going, we are hiring. So right now, NAP is excluded from the hiring freeze. So there's a nice QR code on the slide that's available for those of you that have downloaded it. Especially lifeguards are very seriously needed coming up on the summer months. So if you have a teenager that maybe wants their summer job, if they're at least 15, they can apply. We do the training and pay for the certifications. So that's something to look out for. And as the Colonel mentioned, we wanted to give a big shout out to everyone, thanking them for coming to Kids Fest on April 5th. That was a huge success. We had just about 2,000 attendees on that day. And so we'd like to thank everybody.
Ready to come up, sir?
So just to highlight, I know we still got the slide for MWR events, you can see kind of the things that are up there right now. So something, again, we need your feedback, things that you've seen on other installations, and maybe we can bring here to Fort Belvoir, things that we need to sustain, like events like this. I'll just highlight one. So we started doing First Friday back in March with the dueling pianos, and then in the first week of April we had the karaoke night in the 70s, 80s, 90s party, first week of May. But that just takes us up for the first 3. So we're still looking at different recommendations on what we can do moving forward for events like that. So any good ideas, nothing's off the table. We'll explore anything that you've seen and things that we can bring here. Again, it's all about enhancing quality of life. We want to make sure that we're paying due diligence and hearing from you and what you think might be successful here. Okay, next slide, please. Again, school year. So school year is obviously almost over here, but I'm sure there's plenty of stuff that still has to happen. Everything from folks planning graduations to other school events here in the upcoming months. But obviously, school throughout the year is something that we peak in on. On base, we have the 2 schools that are located here on the north side. We don't own them; they're Fairfax County, but we have a partnership with them, and we're able to influence based off of what's going on. So nothing's on the table with that. But that being said, we do see occasional media entries where there's situations at schools or questions about schools, and it's our job to kind of help us all get those answered. Even though we don't own Fairfax County schools, we talk with them pretty regularly just to kind of get a pulse and feel for what's going on, some of the challenges they may be having. And we do hear from you all at times when there are issues, and we do engage on your behalf. So that being said, we wanted to just take a few minutes today to bring up the school liaison officers. We have two of them that engage not just schools that are here on Fort Belvoir, but also in the surrounding community. So we look at the entire footprint that services school-age children here in the Northern Virginia area, because we know we have constituents a little bit all over into Maryland as well. But we wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of give you guys some updates. One of the things that we've been hearing about lately is that bullying is on the rise among students. I don't really know that it's on the rise. I just think it's a lot more visible with social media and that sort of thing. But that is something that we have been, seeing a little bit more of in terms of complaints and direction at the school and what they're doing about it. So the team here will address that. We have talked to Fairfax County officials about it and what they are doing about it. But I think first and foremost, I want to just foot stomp that there's a process in place when those accusations come. So I want to make sure you all know what that process is, so that if an event happens or your child does come back with some incident, you know how to address it appropriately to get the fastest reaction back from those who do control the schools and the buses and those sorts of things. And they'll kind of get on it from a procedural perspective. But again, we're here to help. We're not the first stop to go when there is an issue with the school, but if you aren't getting traction with the school and your voice is not being heard, we are here to assist you in getting the solutions and the answers that you're looking for. So I just wanted to just put that plug in. But now I'll turn it over to the Stoves to kind of talk through their slides. Go ahead, next slide.
Thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name is Aisha Mahaffey. I'm one of the school liaisons, and I'm here with my co-school liaison, Ms. Marie Bailey. And we're here to talk to you about bullying prevention and reporting processes. We recognize that it's a serious issue that's affecting students and their well-being and their academic success. And so we wanted to address some preventative measures that we might be able to use, as well as what reporting looks like in Fairfax County. So the most important thing is to have a clear definition of what bullying is. The school deems bullying as any aggressive or unwanted behavior that's intended to harm, intimidate, or humiliate. There has to be some real or perceived power imbalance between the aggressor and the victim, and it should be repeated over time. It's important to know that bullying can take many forms: physical, verbal, social, as well as cyberbullying. And statistics show that 1 in 5 students have reported being bullied nationally while at school. So when it comes to recognizing signs, this slide here just gives a few examples of things to be on the lookout for. Unexplained injuries with your children, lost or destroyed property, frequent illnesses, changes in eating, difficulty sleeping, a declining interest in performance at school, sudden loss of friends or avoidance of social situations, feelings of helplessness and decreased self-esteem, as well as self-destructive behaviors. If you find that you know youth who are engaging in any of those, that could be a sign of bullying, and so we encourage you to reach out for support. When it comes to prevention and intervention, so there's a couple things that we want to share. First, how the schools can help. So the school has a clear anti-bullying policy, which we'll go over some of what that process looks like. The schools encourage students to report bullying incidents, and they provide supportive services, such as counseling for children and youth who have been affected by bullying. From a student perspective, the students are encouraged to speak up when they witness bullying. They are each other's battle buddies, so we encourage them to stand up for one another. Support classmates who may be feeling isolated, and make sure that they report any concerns that they have to a trusted adult. And from a parent perspective, we encourage parents to be involved by ensuring that they are fostering open communication with their children, monitoring social media activity and those interactions on social media, as well as working with the schools to ensure that bullying concerns are being addressed. Bullying is typically limited when we, the adults, respond quickly and consistently, when we know our kids' friends, when we encourage them to do activities that they love and enjoy, and encourage them to be in spaces where they feel welcome and safe. When we as adults model kindness and respect, that's important for our youth, as well as making sure that we enforce rules about phone and computer use to limit bullying. So when it comes to reporting within Fairfax County, there are a couple ways that our families can report. If you witness or have concerns about bullying, you can report in person or you can report online. You're encouraged to notify the school, so you can report to a teacher, a counselor, or a principal, or you can also report anonymously using the FCPS tip line, which is on the fcps.edu website. You can also visit the district, Fairfax County Student Safety and Wellness Office if you have a report or concerns about bullying. Those reporting steps. So what happens is once you report to the school, the first step is putting something in writing. So typically there's a reporting form that will be given to you, or you can access it online. You're going to notify, that's your process of notifying the school staff. Once notified, the school staff have a responsibility to support immediate safety actions. So they are going to do whatever is in their power in that moment to ensure that children feel safe and secure. They then begin an investigation. That investigation can include immediate safety plans like changes of classroom schedule, changes of seating on buses, things of that nature. And then once they begin their investigation, they do an interview. They conduct an interview with all parties that are involved, any potential witnesses, and oftentimes we'll interview family members as well. Once the investigation is completed, or as the investigation is going on in Fairfax County, our schools are required to implement or to input their information and their findings into a bullying and harassment management system. So that's a database that is visible to leadership within Fairfax County. That helps them determine what the next course of action should be, whether the bullying incidents are founded or unfounded. And once that determination is made, the schools notify families of what that determination is and any additional actions that need to take place that involve that family's particular child. They also provide additional resources to families and ongoing support like counselors, psychologists, and social workers, as well as restorative justice conferences, which is where families can meet with their youth, the youth who are having the challenges, and try to work through and restore a safe relationship. Next slide. One other thing that we wanted to point out is the 3 to Succeed. So Fairfax government has said that having protective factors in place are a great deterrent to children engaging in risky behavior. And so there's an initiative called 3 to Succeed. So if you look at the protective factors that are on the slide, accepting responsibility for one's actions, participating in extracurricular activities, having community adults to talk to, having teachers recognize good work and performing community service, and having parents available for help. Data shows that if children have at least 3 of those protective factors in their life, they are less likely to exhibit risky behavior such as bullying. So that is something that we definitely encourage parents to keep in mind. Next slide. So the final slide is contact information. Myself and Ms. Marie Bailey, we are here on post, and we are the installation's connection to the schools. So we are available to support any processes that need to be done, any communication that needs to take place with the schools. We have some resource flyers in the back. One of those is a chart that breaks down the contact process for Fairfax County. So as I went through that very quickly, you have an actual tangible handout back there at the table. There's also some guidance in regards to recognizing bullying and preventative measures, and we've made those links available online. Aside from that, we will be here for the Q&A portion and be able to answer any additional questions you might have. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, thank you. So we wanted to put that information out there again because obviously there is normally in schools a document that parents and students sign at the beginning of the school year that kind of acknowledges that bullying will not be tolerated. But I also know that not wanted to make sure that we're re-emphasizing from a procedural perspective how it all works to be able to get resolution if some alleged bullying incident is happening. And I can say that Fairfax County School, they are getting after it. And I know, from a parent perspective, it may not often be, as fast as you would like. It may not be done in a manner that you like. There's obviously regulatory requirements on what they cannot release to parents. But they are taking steps to get after some of the bullying and the bad behavior that's happening, specifically on the school buses. Now, again, bullying, she showed the definition of what bullying is. Take it for what it's worth. I know everybody kind of has their own definition for what bullying is, but, sustained over time, because kids will be kids. Kids are going to get into stuff because they're kids, but that sustained harassment or physical contact, that's kind of really what bullying is all about. Obviously, like for the bus situation, there are cameras on the bus, so if there's a bullying incident, or it's reported, your child says that they're being bullied or there's an incident on the bus, it's called on video and audio. If the school offers to show you the video and audio, I would recommend you go and take a look at it so you can see exactly what's happening. Because I know the school has offered at times to show video to parents to capture exactly what happened in incidences, and parents haven't taken them up on the offer. They just kind of lock into what they think happened based off of the dialogue with their child. But there isn't another, capability to go and reinforce what really happened, and that's through the video. So I just say support the school in that capacity if something does happen. Schools, there's other tools that they can do, like put a liaison on school buses. There are some school buses that are allegedly that are worse than others. So they have explored with the transportation department putting an adult on those buses, for the morning or for the afternoon commute to kind of give somebody else, an adult, to shepherd, good behavior on the buses. So that's an example of something that Fairfax County is looking at doing, at least in two different cases, two different buses that come on the Fort Belvoir. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
Thank you, sir. Before we get started on the Q&A portion, we're going to do a quick introduction with our panel members, starting with EF.
Good afternoon or good evening, Lieutenant Colonel Julie Austin. I'm the Director of Emergency Services for Fort Belvoir. I've been in position for about a month and a half now. Our big one achievement is that we did open up Walker Gate from 06 to 10 o'clock. I hope that makes the community happy for you also. And then we also extended Kingman Gate from 06 to 10 o'clock as well. So we will continue to keep that on glide path. I do not know if we, as the Colonel said, will be able to open additional gates, but we're here to support you in any way you need to keep our community safe.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Rennick, Director of Human Resources here for the Garrison. I just have some information for you. Mark your calendars. On May 7th, we will be hosting with our internal and external partners a hiring fair at the Army Museum. The event will start from 10:30 to 1 p.m. I have flyers in the back in which you can pick up, scan the code, and self-register. So anyone interested is open to veterans, retirees, military spouses. Look forward to seeing you.
Good evening. My name is Mr. Yin Hao. I'm the DPW Director. Few things. Last Sunday, me, myself included, we had a bunch of DPW volunteers and went out to mini baseball field where the back fence was collapsed due to a fallen tree, and we actually went out there and tried to fix it, and quickly find out we're not very skillful. But field is ready. We did have an NWR representation as well. Good news story. As the weather is getting better and warmer and hopefully stay drier, Belvoir Road from 9th Street to 21st Street will have road striping done. So when you are passing by that area, be careful. Follow the road guard instructions, and as it is disruptive, but it's actually improving the visibility of the road for the safety reasons. Hurley Road, we witnessed and also heard that many teenagers or even parents walking up and down of the Hurley where there's very narrow streets, road that is kind of hazardous. So if you were there anytime this week, you saw probably seen the hazard kind of note and trying to deter from you walking up and down the Hurley. However, there's also a directional sign that hopefully leading you to a safer passage from Mount Vernon up to the top of the, I think it is a youth center, building 1003. So utilize that as best as we can. We do have follow-on phase plan to improve that alternate passage. So more to come on that, and we'll put that one out during another either community town hall or the mayor's meeting. Any questions? I will be standing by after the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Marie Grayson George. I'm the Child Human Services Coordinator, and I'm here representing DFWR. And if you have an interest in any of the plethora of offerings that MWR has over the next 6 weeks, you can go to the Belvoir Army MWR website, or you can go to our Facebook page for additional information, and we hope to see you over there.
Thank you. Good evening, I'm Matthew Conlon. I'm Chief of the Military Housing Office. I have 3 primary branches and provide belonging services. So I'm a housing services branch. They primarily relate to off-post housing and stuff to do with that. I have a barracks management branch. We manage the barracks, the facilities, take care of soldier in processing, out processing. And then I have a residential communities liaison officer that's our primary interface with the villages and working with the privatized housing provider. I have 2 big events going on right now in the housing world. First is the annual update for the basic allowance for housing data. So I have people that are out collecting data, and we have a contractor that helps provide some of this data to update the file rates for next year. So we're invested in that right now. The other big event, Sergeant Major mentioned it, is the tenant satisfaction survey. There's actually 2 of them going on right now, one in family housing and one in the barracks. So in family housing, sometimes we find that the person that got the email was the military member, and so typically the spouses are the ones that will actually do the survey. So if your military member hasn't led you to the survey, you might want to check with them and do that. That's an excellent opportunity for you to voice your feelings and your opinions on our housing. The other one in the barracks, we've had, I think it's 18 out of 455 surveys returned. That's 3.9%. We really need to bump those numbers up. And again, for our single soldiers, it's an excellent opportunity for you to voice, your opinion, and let us in Big Army know, how you feel about the barracks. As Colonel mentioned, we've got great barracks, but we know there's always things that we can do better. So please, like the Sergeant Major said, hit that Q code, QRC code, and get those surveys in.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Mike Miller. I'm the project director for the villages at Belvoir. We have quite a few events that are happening over the next few months. On the slides that you should have, you'll be able to see what events are available. And if you have questions on those events, you can reach out to your community office or as well as your mayor to get more information. Matthew had talked a little bit about the satisfaction survey that's out. Just a couple of things on the survey so everyone's aware. It will assist us with trying to see what our residents would like to see within their communities. And it also assists us on seeing how we're doing overall. I will be in the back after the Q&A session for any questions, complaints, or concerns that you may have.
Hello, Yolanda Clayton with the Garrison Safety Office. I'd like to welcome you all invite you all to our Safety, Health, Wellness, and Resiliency Expo, which will be held on the 15th of May from 10 to 2 p.m. in front of the main exchange. Also, we have Right to Work Day, the same day. Participants will use walker gate and it will be available from 06 to 1000.
Hello, my name is Marie Bailey. I am one of the Fort Belvoir School Liaison. We are located at 9800 Belvoir Road. We are inside of a building with a library. And if you have any, need any assistance with transitions with your kids into school or either academic, we are there to support you.
Hello. Again, Aisha Mahaffey is the other school liaison, and I echo what Ms. Marie just said. We're here to support. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, before we get into the Q&A session, I'm going to go over a couple of ground rules. We want to make sure everyone has ample time to engage in discussion. If you have a housing issue, remember your question does not replace the existing procedures, so you should follow the process and work with your village mayors and ombudsman for any specific concerns. To address as many questions as possible, each person gets one question with a follow-up as needed. Facebook viewers can ask questions in the live stream using the hashtag AskBelvoir. Please refrain from discussing or posting individual claims or legal issues. With that, sir, if you'd like, we can begin with a question from the audience here in the room.
Yeah, just real quick, so obviously the panel members just introduced themselves. Those are some of the larger directorates, but they're not all inclusive, so you can ask questions that are outside, housing, security, signage, safety, those sorts of things, but just wanted to make sure I echo that. In addition to that, although they're not here today, if there's other organizations that you have questions, reference them, we can help fill them as well. If we can't give you the answer tonight, we'll take the questions back and follow up and then get your answer back after tonight's event. For example, like the hospital, AFES, the commissary, those sorts of folks as well. So I just want to make sure that we're not, constraining ourselves to just certain topics. Everything is on the table to discuss here tonight. And that being said, let's go ahead and take the first question.
Good evening, sir, Region. Quick question about the car wash center on base. When will it be opened back up?
That is a work in progress, sorry. There has been some vandalism and then there are also breaking. And so the last time we replaced a pump and it was brought back online, it made something else fail. So we're pending the part and we're actually hoping that it's gonna be open within the next couple of weeks. But it just depends on if we get that in. But I'll try to get you a more specific answer because I too just asked that question myself. I like to wash my car at 5 a.m. when nobody's in line. So I will double check and see if I can get a more solid answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one of the, so we have a list of projects that are in the queue right now. That's one of them that's in contract to get those repairs done. So there is money allocated against bringing that back online. Just don't have a hard timeline when it's gonna happen, but it's coming.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Sergeant Major, the rest of the panel. Is there any opportunity to make Specker Fieldhouse 24-hour access? It's the nicest gym we have on base. On the weekends, it closes at noon, so it's kind of unfortunate not to be able to use it.
One's a more difficult one. I can't give you a solid answer. I've heard discussions, and it's because of the usage and the equipment in there and the dangerousness level of, that's not really a word, the level of supervision that's required for that. If, say you were there by yourself at 3 a.m. and you put too much weight on and now you're pinned. So I do know that they've been exploring that option, but there is also the concern of whether just due to the setup of that facility and what it's for, if that can be even done in a safe manner.
Yeah.
So I will pass that on because we were just talking about that at our last DFWR staff call.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take that one back.
Thank you, sir.
And one online, real quick. At Belvoir Gate, there's a bolt sticking up over an inch on the only available barricade for vehicles to drive over. Are you aware and do you have any update on the status of the work order for DES?
Yes, so we are tracking daily the Belvoir Gate barrier issue. So currently there is a stop work order on our gate contract currently happening, so that is why every day that barrier continues to rise inch by inch, and there is only one lane open to go over it. That is a good opportunity though for me to put out a PSA to please only drive 15 miles an hour over our barriers, because the faster you drive over them, the faster that they will rise as we go through that stop work order for our contract. But we are expected right now, hopefully, fingers crossed, no later than 1 May, they'll be out here to conduct some repairs on our barriers for all of the gates. But yes, we are aware of the issue and are actively trying to get the contractors out here to work on that.
Are there any plans to open Walker Gate in the afternoon? And then I'll stop picking on.
Okay. So we would love to open up Walker Gate in the afternoon. We just require additional VMM support from the tenant units on the installation. Like Colonel Stewart mentioned, CID and Protective Services Battalion, they come through and help us out to open up Walker Gate in the morning. But for us to be able to continue to have that gate open for egress in the evening, we would require additional manpower from our tenant units. So if there's another unit out there that would like to come and support and pony up, one person per day for 5 days for us to open up Walker Gate for egress, please contact myself or Sergeant First Class Mercado, our DES N2IC, and we would love to open up Walker Gate to help alleviate some of the traffic to get off the installation. But as of right now, without that additional support, we are unable to open up egress for Walker Gate.
I'll throw a little plug out there as well, Bam. So for the gate support, it's rank agnostic. So it doesn't matter what rank you are. I know we have a lot of senior commands out here. Every now and then you'll probably see a major or a lieutenant colonel or something like that on the gates. Myself and the commander have done the gates as well. So it doesn't matter what your rank is, you can support. So please, just like she said, if you would like to support, reach out to Sergeant First Class Mercado, the commander, and we will definitely get you trained and get you out there. Thank you.
Do moving companies still need to be sponsored by families? Home Safe Alliance specifically.
Yes.
Trying to find one.
Yes, they do still have to be sponsored to come on the installation. We have not changed our FPCOM measures since they took effect last August. And I know with PCS season that does become an additional burden on our family members who are PCSing in and out of the installation. But please go to our BCC and the team there is more than willing to assist and ensure that you get the proper passes to help support those individuals coming on the installation.
Okay. For DSMWR, do you have an update on the Officers Club reopening? And there's I'll answer my follow-up question.
Sure. So it is scheduled to be completed by the end of this calendar year, but of course the building is very old, and as they're going through and doing the renovations, they're finding more things that have to be fixed or have to be added to the contract and the contract amended. But right this second it is scheduled to be finished and completed and turned over to us at the end of this year, the calendar year.
Yeah, so there's not like a hard date. We're thinking first quarter, late first quarter of 26, but that's contingent on the contractors being able to stay on schedule with the renovations that they're doing. In addition to that, there still has to be a hiring process that is parallel to that. Hiring/training process for the teammates that will be operating the O Club. So that's why, construction may be done hypothetically 15 December. It doesn't mean it's going to open 16 December. There's still kind of that hiring process and outfitting the facility that has to happen as well. Hopefully, second quarter of 26.
Another one, and then y'all both welcome to go to my. How can we get an Uber program for people who can get on base?
So there is currently a Facebook group where you can join that Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group. I cannot remember the name of it.
DMV Rides.
DMV Rides. People do know it. You can go on that Facebook group and sign up for it, and then they can locate you a Uber or Lyft ride on the installation of where they are permitted to come on the installation. But you do have to sign up for that Facebook group. It is a closed group, so you have to go on and sign up for that.
No, thank you for that. I mean, we'll continue to explore ways to be able to expand that to make it easier, but at least least there is some capability that a resident here in the Belvoir area to be able to do that. But ideally, we'd like to increase that to be able to increase the quality of life and ability for folks to get on and off a little bit easier. So more to follow with that.
All right, so your favorite topic of conversation, are there plans for the movie theaters to be open?
So, you can answer that two different ways. So, the summer's coming up, we are gonna, be doing the summer movie, series, beginning, I think in May, or maybe June. But that is coming up, so that'll be a roadshow movie theater capability that's happening here on installation that we do every summer. In addition to that, we are talking about how to possibly open one of the movie theaters on a reoccurring basis. So it wouldn't be like every weekend per se, but it may be like 1 week in a month or open it up for one night show movie. We're looking at how to be able to do that. So we haven't cracked the code on that yet, but we're still exploring that option. We know that there is some level of interest in it. I don't know if it's enough to sustain it. Only doing it one time will be the test case to see if it's successful. But it's one of those things where to be able to do that costs money, right? So if it's not funding itself, it's probably something that's going to go away. So we can try it and hopefully get a lot of participation and keep it going, or we could try it and only a few folks come out and it'll be one and done. But it's something we are exploring. We do want to at least see what the possibilities are of bringing that back online. So more to follow there. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. So first, I want to say thank you to whoever fixed the light on Route 1, so when you're making that left into Tully at like 6:30 at night, 8 cars can go through legally and safely instead of the 2 or 3 that it has been for months. So whoever did that, thank you. Yeah. But my question that I have is for housing, and I don't know if you're the right source for this or not, but there's an event scheduled on Tuesday next week for Earth Day, and it's scheduled between the hours of 3 and 5 p.m. Every child on Fort Belvoir between the ages of 4 and 12 does not get off the bus until about 4:40 p.m. I don't know how that could work, and get your people out on time, but I do have a suggestion. Could it be moved to Monday? Because Monday, the 21st, I know it's not Earth Day, all the kids have early release, and all the elementary school kids are home by 1:30. So just by shifting it left one day, every single child on the installation potentially could partake in that, and it would be, like this week, all the spring break things have been an absolute success, and if the kids are in school, they can't come to the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
I think that's something that we can take a look at and we can discuss internally to see what we
Yeah.
can do to help.
I just know it's coming up soon, so thank you.
Another one for the villages, I believe. Can someone cut the bushes by the alley entrance in Lewis Village? Crossing foot traffic is not visible.
Yeah, so we did take a look at it, just so everyone's aware. With that being said, whenever it comes to traffic safety and personnel safety, I tend to try to partner with DES for us to take a look to see if it does pose a problem or not. So we did look at it today, once we got the question. I don't have an answer yet, but I should be able to provide an answer by the end of the week on what we can do to make it more safe for residents.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question follow-up to that, and it's not a villages, it's a DPW thing. The hill that goes out of George W. up towards the hospital, is that Sir Dyer? Every year, we wind up basically playing chicken on the blind curve because the bushes on the right-hand side grow and grow and grow and grow, and until it becomes a super dangerous thing because we go back and forth between the villages say it's DPW says it's villages, and when it's 6 feet into the road, then DPW comes and mows it. It's already starting to encroach on the road where there's no shoulder, and we have families that walk up and down that hill to get up to the USO and the hospital and such. Could we try to maybe put that on the list a little sooner to get that area mowed?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Where the big mountain is.
Yeah, and also you notice that, and it came out of this type of venue where Survey Road got loose tracked at the top, right? So appreciate you bringing that one up. We'll definitely take a look and
part of working together with you.
Yes. So, we understand the concern, out at Woodlawn for the need for the four-way stop. We are gonna work with Fairfax County to see about the feasibility of that four-way stop, because I believe the question is, they want the four-way stop, coming out of Woodlawn on the main route there. So that is not our jurisdictional route. So we have to work with Fairfax County for them to be able to put the stop signs out there to make it a four-way stop. So we're going to contact Fairfax County to see if we are able to do that, and to get that, to see if we can. So more to follow on the feasibility of doing that.
Back to MWR. So these First Friday events, we're trying to get them well attended. A few of the flyers stated that you needed tickets in advance, which is we get from the community center. Can you actually show up day of?
So yes, so we heard what everyone said, because it was difficult to register, so we've shifted. So for the next event, which is the 80s/90s party, it is a first come, first serve. So if we reach max capacity, that's what it is. And also we've eliminated the $10 fee. So it'll be free, but it will be first come, first serve. So we took the past questions and answers that we had received from the events, and so we went ahead and made the second one for free.
Thank you. Are there any plans to potentially clean up our parks? Some of them are run down. I'm not sure if this pertains to playgrounds or just greenery.
You wanna take that? So there's, the parks in the housing area is one thing. The community parks that are not in the housing area is another thing. So there's, again, I mentioned that project list, that we have, that we're working through. So we do have some parks that are part of that. Again, it takes resources. There's a prioritization associated with those. There's a contracting process that's associated with those. But we are addressing, renovating some of the parks. Now again, renovating parks is a very expensive thing, so we can't do all of them like now. It's gonna take time. It's something that we have to build in the plan to be able to fund that over time. So it is something that we have in the works. I don't know if you want to just, okay.
So for a few things for our community parks inside the villages, we do have a plan to start renovating some of the playground areas within this year. We have also started working a plan for us to have a 5-year plan to continue to renovate some of the playgrounds throughout. So you'll start to see some of the playgrounds, we'll get some renovations over this year, and then that will continue throughout the next 5 years.
And it does include the parks that are associated with the CDCs as well. So those first 2 renovations should be starting next week for the first 2 parks at the CDC.
Do you have a question?
We love the indoor swimming pool. Is it going to be open another Friday? Because the flyer ended, and we'd like more days, please.
Okay, we are looking at that, and it all, again, comes down to lifeguard availability. And since that pool is the only one that's open for PT and lap swimming, the active duty does have the priorities. But I will double check with that because I'm not the expert on the scheduling of the pool, but I do know we're still in need of lifeguards.
Okay. And then one more. I was super bummed to see archery wasn't in the youth sports flyers that we just got emails for. Would love to see that in the future because you have a wonderful archery range, but the lessons are the same lesson each time every other Monday. It's welcome, this is how to use the bow. So
Are you looking for an archery team as a competitive or just more advanced lessons?
more either or. I said my children to either.
Those are good.
Both kids will come. Take my money.
All right, I will put that.
Thank you.
Is it possible to get the stoplight outside Kingman Gate to be changed to flashing when Kingman Gate is closed?
So there's 2 stoplights. So I'll address the one that I believe that they are talking about, is the one that's closest to DLA. Okay, so we're gonna look into that stoplight to see if we can do that. But on a good news portion, the other light that is outside of INSCOM, we are working to address that light issue, to lengthen the turn time that INSCON employees can come out of Kingman Gate. So we are looking at that one as well, to change that. So we are looking into both of those lights as we move forward. So.
I believe this one needs to go to RS, but we'll ask anyway. Retired soldier would like to know if it is possible to use the old chapel building for church service.
Yeah,
let's take that one down. We'll go back with one.
Any more from the audience?
Hey, good evening. This question is for the housing team. Is it possible to readjust how work orders are processed for housing? I've lived here for about 3 years now, and almost every single time I will get a call, hey, this is so-and-so from housing, I'm on my way, are you available right now? I'm dual mill, I don't work here, so I can't answer the door every time they call. So, or I'll get an email at 3 in the morning saying, hey, we have a maintenance scheduled for you between 9 and noon the same day. Also doesn't really help. Can we get some sort of system where we actually get calls from maintenance or from housing to actually be able to schedule our work orders in advance, so that way we can take that time and do that coordination?
Yeah, absolutely. So that is one of the things that we're currently working on, is so that we're better scheduling some of the services that way you, as a resident, is able to plan ahead, and then we actually make that appointment so that you're not having to reschedule later on. So I am hoping that you will see a big change in the next 30 days. But our facility director, as well as myself, have been working pretty hard on trying to come up with a better plan on that. So in the next 30 days, if you don't see a change, please reach out.
Will do. And then, if possible, I have one more question. So in Doug Creek, in front of Markham, there's the road kind of splits, so there's a triangle, so it's maybe DES or DPW. But I see cars all the time that trying to go out from where the one-way is, so it creates a dangerous intersection. It's right in front of Markham. Is there any way to make an adjustment or make signs more clear for people not to use the outway to going in? Because that creates a huge issue, especially when there are buses there in the morning and people are trying to go around the buses as well. So.
Good, thank you. I'll go up and look at it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that's just a picture of what you're saying. But
yeah.
We'll
thank you. And thank you for all the work for putting together, getting the trail to go up the road, because it has been extremely dangerous and there's no other alternatives really out of the village. So people go up there all the time, even with those do not go sign, no trespassing signs, people are still going up there. So hopefully get some word out about the new trail. Thank you.
For both primary and upper schools, what do the base policies recommend in reference to school sponsorship for base access of staff members that no longer work at the school? I'm not sure what to do.
So I'm assuming if they still need access, then they would have to be sponsored by someone who is a CAC holder to come on to the installation.
It's a question about current employees of the school or parents of the school?
It sounded like it was someone who no longer works at the school, but wants to come back on the installation. But for them to come on the installation, they need somebody sponsor them to come on the installation.
They don't live, work, or have a business on the installation.
So just for former, it sounds like former school workers from primary and upper schools, but if they're
no longer working, that privilege goes away.
We'll go back into the comments and see if there's any more information. If we have any other questions? Sure, it's for you. Is there a way to extend the hours of the main gate on Highway 1 to match the hours of the PX and
So we could extend the hours if we got additional support from people saying,
Yeah, again, it's all.
I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but we really do not have the manpower to be able to extend gate hours at this time. In particular with the hiring freeze for our DASGs, and then the amount of service members we do have on the installation. So if you would like to have gates open more, we would really request additional manpower to help us open those gates for longer hours.
Sergeant Major Smith to sign up today, or Sergeant
Yeah, she touched on something, and I think it's no surprise to the folks in the room or the folks online. So all of these executive orders that are producing second and third order effects on DoD organizations, or really whole of government organizations, have a cost. So currently, right now, we're also in a hiring freeze, so we cannot hire anybody within the garrison. So that's why we kind of mentioned when we started to talk about the manpower requirements for like gates. I cannot hire any gate guards right now. So we're not going to get any better until, you know, those initiatives like that, there's more guidance or clarity or relief from some of those constraints that are existing right now. And that's not just with manpower. So we will continuously assess what we can do based off the resources we are providing. So I just want to say, because potentially that could affect other services that are provided on the installation. You know, for example, pick a service capability on the installation. So it's run by garrison employees. If those employees go somewhere else to work and that workforce gets reduced, that affects the throughput of service that we can have offered to all the constituents here on the installation. So it's something that we're watching. We're looking for where those traps are, where the risk lies in all of the different services as we work week by week to address kind of the constraints that are imposed by these whole of government guidance that's coming down. So gates is kind of one of those things because it's security guards is in the crosshairs, and you know we can't hire that. You know, CYS, when we look at CDCs, you know, it takes X amount of care providers to X amount of kids to have X amount of rooms open. If I start losing care providers and there's a hiring freeze, I can't hire care providers. That means rooms closed. Kids don't have somewhere to go in a CDC potentially. They'll have to go off post and get that service out there. So just want to kind of highlight there's challenging times when it comes to resourcing all of the requirements here on installation. But it's something we're kind of watching closely to make sure we kind of stay ahead of it and can keep everybody informed if those changes are coming down. So, you know, we just wanted to make that highlight.
Did you have any other questions from the audience?
I'll ask one more if that's okay.
Sure.
Sorry. So this is for CYS. There we go. Ah, thank you. There we go. So I have an infant daughter. She's at the South Coast CDC. Just gotta say, look, her teachers are amazing. One of the things that we're constantly running into issues with is that the infant rooms are really hot. And we've spoken to the CDC staff, and they mentioned that there's nothing that they can do. They've submitted requests as temperatures climb into the 70s and the 80s. Is there anything that you guys can do to address that? Because it is boiling hot in those rooms, and these are very small children.
Well, unfortunately, our HVAC systems cannot be turned over from winter mode to summer mode and back and forth and back and forth. So this is what we've had with our wonderful, it's spring, it's winter, it's spring, it's winter that's been happening over the last 2 months, I will say. So if you notice, we'll be 80 degrees one day and then it's 40 degrees the next day. So if we turn off the heat and it's 40 degrees, then it's 40 degrees and the AC's running. So that's, we're working with DPW, and I believe it just came out that they're gonna be starting to switch them over, because it's all or nothing, unfortunately, and we don't have control at the facility, and so we're hopefully getting them switched over soon. But I don't know what the rule is, but it has to be X number of days over 70 degrees or something like that before we can be switched over. turn off the heat and turn the AC on, basically, unfortunately. So all we do is we try to open the windows in the morning, put some fans on, things like that, but as you know, in an infant room especially, you have like one little fan way up top, because you can't have it where they can have access to it and reach it, so unfortunately it is limited.
Is there a date, not a date on the calendar when it switches? It's condition based?
It is. You know, looking at 5 consecutive days, if you're above or below, it tells you whether it's a heating season or an AC season. So we're near finished with heating season. Obviously, you got to have that consecutive days. I don't know the numbers, but like she said, we did not have that consistent temperature change. It was up and down. So we're looking at within next week or 10 days, we are ending heating season. And then we'll go back right soon after that when we reach that regulatory requirement. Turn the AC back on. We always miss it, right? When we turn off heat and then the cold still happens and when we turn air conditioner off and then there's what do you call it, Indian summer. Yeah, so, but we'll try our best and we're trying to work with, we'll work with CDC, see if we can adjust, especially CDC, so we can hit that better sweet spot. And yeah, unfortunately, we do not have 4, 5 systems, just heat or air.
What specific CDC are you referring to?
South Coast.
South Coast.
Yes, sir. And then I wanted to ask, I understand funding constraints, fiscal constraints, continuing with the CR. For the long term, is that something that maybe that Garrison could put into their 5-year plan to change, like to modernize the heating and cooling at the CDCs? Because that seems like a problem that's probably been going on for many years now. So maybe if that's something that maybe Sir you can put on a 5-year or 10-year plan, so that way maybe not our children, but somebody's children will benefit.
Yeah, sure. That's around CD. Those are probably some of them are probably already on there.
So yeah,
there's a lot of facilities. So there's a aging facilities, right? So there's a lot of facilities that have HVAC issues. Not CDCs is one population of that, but that's like the majority of them. So those are all getting added in there in some sort of prioritization. Obviously CDC would rise to the top because that's kind of like health safety. But that's a bad.
Yeah, you know, you should be working with DPW. So we have 5-year plan for HVAC replacement, but it is constrained by the physical constraint that we have now, worse than last year. And I'm not so sure what future looks like, but we're going to do some budgetary exercise where we can put some money every year, so much. But again, what Colonel was saying is that our HVAC system throughout the installation really require a lot of funding to make it right. So, but CDC being one of the highest priority facilities, we try to tend to put that in. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
We will continue to monitor the chat if there's any last minute questions that came in that didn't get answered, and we will be working with the directors to get all of your questions answered, and that will be a follow-up on post later. Sir, did you have any further remarks?
So no other alibi for us?
Sure, addition to the park cleanup, maybe the online question was possibly addressing throughout the installation. Our ground maintenance is beginning to work, right? So you will see a lot of mowing and trimming, and it'll cover a lot of the grass, the trees. So we'll try to make sure that after they do mow and trim, the cleaning part is executed as well. If online customer will have a question in specific areas, please let me know so we can focus on that.
Okay. No, thank you. So I promise to get you out on time. And that's rare that we can actually do that. So it's a good news story. But first, I just wanted to again thank everybody for coming out here, everybody that's in the auditorium, as well as those that are out there online, for dedicating your time for this. Because again, this is important to us to be able to hear from you all and what keeps you up at night and what your concerns are. So thank you all for coming out tonight. Hopefully you got some information that was beneficial. You learned something tonight. If you didn't get a chance to answer the question, or something pops in your mind later on that you would like us to answer, it's the Facebook town hall page is still available on the website, so, continue to send your questions in. If you don't get them based off of the Facebook town hall forum, again, through your mayors and the monthly mayor meetings, the village meet and greets that we have, or other opportunities to do that as well. I encourage you, again, the more feedback we have, the better we can make quality of life here on Fort Belvoir. So, we need your support in that, in communicating those sorts of things. And just wanted to just put a plug, the next town hall is scheduled for August 14th.
Yep.
So August 14th, it's a Tuesday, next town hall, so I want to make sure everybody's tracking that. And we'll continue to do it in this form, kind of front load some of the briefings, and then have more time for questions.
That's a Thursday.
Thursday, okay. August 14th, Thursday. Good, okay. Unless there's any other alibis, just want to say thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Appreciate your time. Have a great night.